risky one. Sheds hit the fan, we're overrun. Send them boys in the trucks with the 50 cals. Tell every swinging dick bring extra rounds. Hang in now, boys, we're on our way. Don't send them out of heaven before we get a taste. Whoa, cry havoc, let's slit the doors and room. What you gonna do?
And happy Sunday, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Double S Podcast. We are back live here. I'm in the studio finally. I'm not shooting video from a hotel room like I was last week. My goodness, y'all, Nevada, Utah, on the border there in, my brain just mushed out. I can't even remember the name of the town. It's right on the border there on I-80. 106 degrees when I got in the hotel. Insane. Too damn hot. Yeah, man, but it's a dry heat. Whatever, so's an oven. That was just too hot, all right? I'm telling you that right now. But what an amazing trip we had at Clear Lake. If you follow us on Facebook, you saw the pictures there. I'm telling you right now, if you're an angler, if you're an outdoors person, especially if you're a bass angler, do yourself a favor. Figure out a way. I don't care what it takes. Get to Clear Lake, California. Experience that lake. It is amazing. Amazing. We loved it there. And had an absolute blast. Seeing my homie out there, active duty, United States Air Force, Mr. Lucas Snyder. Love you, man. Thank you so much for a great time out there. Good stuff. Hey, man, we're back. We're in the studio. You know the deal. Tonight's episode, we got some groundbreaking stuff taking place tonight. Hands down, by far, not even remotely close. This individual who is with us tonight, our guest, bless her heart, has the largest following out of any guest we've ever had come on our little show. I think up to this point, we've had guys like, we've had some, celebrities in the outdoor side of things. And I'm not calling her a celebrity, but dude, when you put 120 some odd thousand followers on you, you're doing something right, right? And that is Nicole. She's here with us. She's agreed. This is her first live show, which this is awesome. She picked the right place. We're a great place because when you see me stumble over words, I put people's mind at ease. You'll laugh at me or with me, one of the two. We'll get through this thing. We're going to have a blast. We're hoping to see a bunch of new faces tonight in the comments. What do we have going on here? Veteran Cranks. Yes. What's happening, Charles? Appreciate you tuning in, brother, from Ohio there. We appreciate you. And then we got our Arkansas connection. What's happening? Nice. YouTube. Do you not have... That picture's a good close resemblance of you, brother. I'll just give you that. That's close. We got to talk about the bass fishing you're doing. Hey, let's pay the bills and let's get Nicole in here. This is going to be an awesome show. What I ask for tonight, 100%, put your big person britches on and use your brain. This is going to take some thinking through some of these things. We're going to introduce you to Nicole here. Her story was something that struck me personally. There's so many things that her journey, it's been very recent for her as well. Her journey is something that just strikes a deep-seated chord with me. And the content that I see, she is not an influencer. There's a big difference. She's an informer. She deals in facts, not opinions. And the fact that what she's set out here to do is to help give people information so that you can be a free thinker yourself and look through this stuff. Plus, she proposes something that I have believed for quite a while now. And she has the same belief. And now we're seeing more and more people on it. So it's going to be a great interview. You're going to love this. Let's pay the bills before we get rolling any further. I could just keep yapping all day. As usual, every episode of the Double S Podcast brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation. Mr. Brian Romans, you stay healing, brother. You're in my prayers. If you follow Brian, you know what I'm talking about. If not, go follow Romans Warrior Foundation and you'll see it out there. But you rest, you get healed up. We love you, man, and we'll be back at it. Romans Warrior Foundation is the whole reason we exist. You guys know that story. The biggest piece in that whole big puzzle is the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance, the only mobile monument in the United States that covers the entire GWAT era of 83 to the debacle withdrawal of 21. We are the traveling memorial that runs around this country here. We have the education side of the wall, which takes all the politics and opinions out and gives you the timeline of what led up to that, what started in 1983, the Marine base bombing of the barracks that started this global war on terror, and what led up to the more highlighted stuff that people remember, such as Desert Storm, 9/11, these things. There was a lot more that goes on with that. The other side of the wall is the honor side, where we honor our brothers and sisters there that have given the ultimate sacrifice for that war. And that has been a major piece. That is a major, I guess, pillar, if you will, inside the Romans Warrior Foundation. If you want to get the mobile monument into your neck of the woods, reach out to the Romans Warrior Foundation, hit them up, and let's get it in there. Of course, none of this is possible without Adam Bird and all the amazing podcast on the Heroes Media Group. Thank you all so very much. We appreciate the opportunity to be here. Adam was super stoked when he saw what we were doing this Sunday here. He loved it, and said he'd be tuning in for sure. All right, the bills are paid. Let's go ahead and get Nicole in here. United States Army veteran. Let's go ahead and bring Nicole into the studio. What's happening, Nicole?
Hello. I love
We
the
have
intro.
That's right. We've been talking off air here and chopping it up with some really good stuff. So we're going to do our best to kind of recreate some of that stuff, right? But hey, we appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. We know you got a family there, you got things going on, but taking it to sit down with us on our little show here, man. We appreciate it.
No, I love it. I feel right at home here already. So
There you
right
go.
on.
We got some of the Colorado. This is our Colorado connection out here. Let's go, Nicole. All right. See, you're already growing a fan base out here.
Hey, like I said, I love Colorado. I don't care what they got going out there politically. I'm still
Right?
I'm still a fan. It's still beautiful.
Well, Joe is also an Army vet as well, so he's connecting with you
Awesome.
there. Yeah, that's right. So let's talk about that a little bit. When were you in the United States Army?
So I joined back in, I want to say 2017, early 2018. And then I got out in 2023, at least active duty. And then I was in the reserves for about a year.
Nice. And you did parachute rigging, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Holy crap. So now, were you using the parachute that you rigged, or were you just the rigger and you were
Oh
like,
yeah. No, we gotta do all of the above. We have to maintain them. So if you are familiar with sewing machines, you have to get good with sewing. You are jumping with them. If you're in aerial delivery, you're gonna be rigging things to be dropped out of airplanes. So if you've ever seen anything, burn in, that's us.
Oh, yeah. Like the different supplies and such that you're going to be sending out.
Yes. So sometimes it's massive vehicles. It can be supply bundles. It can be a lot of different things. It's a very cool job. I loved it.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. Now, was that always stateside, or did you ever deploy out of the States?
That was always stateside. I did want to deploy, but that opportunity just never came my way.
Right.
By the time it did, I was pregnant, and that was not going to happen.
Right. Not the right time to deploy.
Nope.
And speaking of that, your husband, also United States Army veteran, and he was infantry, you say?
Yes, he was. Yes, he did have an opportunity to deploy.
Outstanding. And it's awesome to know he came home and he started a family with you. That's fantastic. So the Marines and Army infantry guys have a special place in my heart, and I'll tell you why. Here's the short story. We do kayak fishing. I have 4 kayaks on my trailer. It's a lot of gear to take off, right? 4 different fishing kayaks. These aren't the kind of small 30-pound kayaks, right? These are 90-some-odd pound fishing machines that we have. They have electric motors and batteries. We go out and we get our fish on, right? I mean, it's for real. It is hands down, no question. I never have to ask. And the infantry guys, the Marines and the Army are the first guys that are there to help me get the gear off, get the gear back on. They're just the best. They know that, hey, until the cleanup's done, job ain't done, right? I mean, we got to get her done. And yeah, it's It's awesome stuff. They're always there to help an old guy out.
They all have a great attitude usually about work morale and everything. I mean, I love my husband, you know.
Right? Nice. So he's always there to help take out the trash, fix the lawnmower, do what he needs to do. Sorry, dog. Sorry, man.
I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but you know, it's us to be reminded.
Right. So this whole journey that you jumped in, I mean, if anybody's seen your content, they know that you put together some very well done videos that you tackle pretty much. I mean, I haven't gone through all of your content because there's a lot of it, but you'll tackle just about anything. And the thing I want people to understand is that if you take the time to watch it and listen to the statements that you're making, you do avoid the political posturing. What you go with is, this is what you're seeing here and this is what you're seeing here. Your choice. I have my opinions, but you have your choice, you know, and that is what captured this old guy so much. This, you know, I'm 53. I'm from that Generation X, right? I mean, I've seen what goes on. We were left on our own devices. It was so awesome, I guess, is that, for lack of a better word, to see somebody like you putting this content together with such thought and care and hitting it from that side. Let's start back from the beginning. Let's jump to the part of what made you decide to begin this journey of, you know what, we're going to try this on the social media, and I'm going to start throwing my opinion around on this and see what people think.
You know, it started out of desperation and wanting to try and understand what the heck is going on in our country. Like I was kicked out of my doctoral program, you know, for reasons that, like we talked about, I just can't even begin to start sharing with people yet. But I was put in a position where this program that was supposed to help me get a job on the civilian side fell through. And so I had to come up with something that would allow me to start making money fast. And at the same time, I knew that there wasn't really anything out there that would let me make enough money while putting my kids in daycare, right? Like the math just wasn't mathing. And so I really wanted to explore content creation, and that's kind of where it started. And I really didn't know what to expect, but I started just by exploring topics that interested me and things that I noticed were happening. Like, it started as kind of like a behavioral analysis type thing. Like, I just wanted to understand why people were doing what they were doing. And that's kind of, it just snowballed.
Was that part of your college education that you were going after? Was behavioral sciences of some kind, human behavior or anything? Or
it was. So I was in a doctoral program for occupational therapy, and behavior is a big part of it. You know, I think occupational therapy was really cool because it encompasses so many different aspects. Like, it's very holistically based.
Right.
And so for me, I think I kind of tapped into that and just wanted to figure out, what's happening in our country. And it turned into this scavenger hunt type thing where I just eventually ended up here. And, you know, now I've not only convinced myself, I've convinced a whole bunch of other people too, because this has just been researched, you know?
If you don't mind me saying, I think perhaps you said the quiet stuff out loud. You know, I hate to jump on a phrase that's out there, but that is, you were saying things that I had only brought up in small chat circles because, not for nothing, I run a nonprofit. I have to be very careful. I can't, you know, make the nonprofit appear as if it's aligning with some sort of, you know, thing, which I've always said that from day one. My personal opinions are just that. They're just mine. They're not of the TPOs. We don't get involved in politics with my nonprofit. But I was a firm believer in things that I was seeing there, and you were saying that stuff. I think you're not convincing people. I think you're saying stuff and they're like, yes. But what you are doing is you're putting fact and information where maybe the rest of us didn't have some of those facts and we're like, hey, okay, yes, that's exactly what I thought that.
Like connecting the dots. Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
And that's huge when you find somebody out there, because I mean, hey, not for nothing, we're lazy. It's a social media, realm. If it goes more than 14 seconds, we lose interest type thing. You do long form, which was the other reason that really attracted me to your content, because like you, we do that here with these shows. I don't do the 10-minute, 20-minute things. We go, usually it's about an hour. I've had podcasts go almost 2 hours, at times. It all depends on the conversation, where it's going, type thing. If we've got the interaction, but most of our stuff is about an hour long. You do that as well, because it does take time to break these topics down that you attack. Are there any of the topics out there that's going on nowadays that you step away from, where you're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to get involved in that?
There's a couple of things that I've been staying away from just because I don't have anything to add. Like, I just don't have anything anywhere to go with it. So I just kind of ignore it. And I think one of the big things, and this is going to make some people mad, but it's the Epstein files.
Yep.
And I personally just don't have anything to say about it. I have my personal opinions about it. But as far as like legitimate evidence and things like that, I'm sorry. I don't see a whole lot there to go off of and really have any opinion about anything. And I don't know how anybody's really coming to these conclusions, because to me, it's just speculation at this point.
It truly is. When you start talking about geopolitics, that's another area that I myself, like you, I have an opinion, but I'm also very well aware of the fact that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes, because I don't know all the details, man. At some point, you got to put a little bit of trust in some hands to go, hey, it's your job. I hope you're doing your job right. And only history is going to tell us whether you were or whether you weren't, at this point.
Yes, yeah, like our relationship with Israel, I am very much of the mindset
100%.
that I don't understand it.
Yep.
But I do know that based on the patterns that we're seeing, that right now the last thing we should be doing is distancing our one and only ally. That's my mindset. If you've got somebody that's in the same mental ballpark as you don't want to drive them away. At least that's what I think.
At least not in that area of the world as well.
No.
Right? I mean, every bit of what I did an opinion article on this we have a little section called Shots Fired that I threw out, and I talked about this topic that like what you just said, I don't know all the details, and I'm not going to act or assume that I do, but what I will say is, from a strategic top-down view, if you look at the last 40, 50 years, 60 years, the only intelligence and the only information that we've ever picked up that's been mission critical to us in that area of the world has come because of our partnership with these guys. So they may be the drunk uncle at the family reunion right now, where they're embarrassing the hell out of us at times. I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. They may be doing some things that are probably less than, acceptable or what. I just don't buy into the whole narrative that they're this evil force out there. I'm sorry. No,
I don't think so either.
There's not enough data. There's not enough data to support that, right?
If I really had to have an opinion, I would want to remind people that they're probably experiencing a lot of the same things that we're experiencing here at home. Like, who the heck knows what's actually happening between their own citizens right now? Like
100%.
You just have no idea. We don't know what they know. We don't know what they think they know. It's just, it's a mess.
And if and that's the other side of this. The one thing I love that has come out of the podcasting and social media realm is that, in the absence of real trust, of real journalism taking place by the mainstream media, which it just absolutely is not, if you think it is, come out from underneath the rock, right? Because I got a whole new cool world to show you out here. There's just no way you can turn your head away from the fact that this is just blown up garbage. So it's cool to get other opinions to the stuff. And the fact that your wisdom to say those things that I don't know what I don't know. And if I can't add something to it, why jump it? Where'd you find this wisdom at a young age? You're a very young mom to be this wise.
I've made so many mistakes in a very short amount of time. That's how. Like, I'm sorry. Once you just you learn very fast, especially in the military. I feel like you learn very fast. You should not jump to conclusions. You just shouldn't. You just have no idea what's going to happen if you start taking on an opinion, because it can backfire very, very fast. And I'm very cautious when it comes to that.
So I don't have a lot of the details because, like I said before, I'm not a great journalist. I'm not a journalist. I'm not even in the definition of, I mean, you can't even find a thesaurus, to link me anywhere in there. But there was I believe he was Air Force, 15 years, 16-year Air Force, got up, held up the sign, the president's line, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to give you my short piece on it, and then you tell me from a service standpoint. I'm a civilian, right? So I'm just calling it from the outside, right? I'm a former first responder. That's as close as I ever got to serving the public. This dude had a family, kids at home, wife at home. He knew what his job was, and I'm sorry. I can't unsay this. What kind of idiotic maneuver did this guy just do by blowing away his entire family's future of what he had worked 17 years for over an opinion because he didn't like something? It's your commander in chief, dog. You respect the rank, not the person, right? I mean, even as a civilian, I know that. What did you see that? What did you go through your head when you saw that whole thing unfold?
I was pissed, especially seeing his connection to the Jolly Roger character that we see at so many of these protests. It just immediately struck me that this was you just have to be freaking kidding me. Like you're getting looped into this crowd of paid protesters that are being directed to go out and cause trouble, and you're going to align yourselves with them and put that out there for the entire world to see. It's just it made me so mad. Yeah. I couldn't believe. And this guy is supposed to be educated. He's supposed to have all this experience, and it's just wild. Like, you shouldn't have. I don't care if he did it. He shouldn't have done it in uniform. Period.
100%. There's a respect factor that should come with that. And when one veteran does something, as you know it, if you got a patch on your arm, everybody with that same patch is carrying the same burden of your actions out there. Even we knew that in the first responder side of the world, right? It's like, we were, from that side, we had plenty of rules in place that if you were wearing anything that had our agency whatsoever on, you better be, Johnny Citizen number one, in public view out there. That's the name of the game, right? You have to uphold that. To me, it was just more of the fact that, hey man, think what you want to think. No one's going to tell you that, or I don't begrudge you for having an opinion. But to blow it all away and to jam up the service, involve it in this whole mess, that's just a dumb move. I don't care.
Yes. Yeah. It was so stupid. And to hear it, like, it sounds like he was planning it, like he had coordinated with his lawyer and all this other crap. And it's still just, I don't think he understands how fast these people are going to disappear.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all going to be gone, and he's going to be left dealing with this alone. We'll probably still hear the occasional pop up from these people, but like, he just threw it away for no good reason. He could have done what he wanted to do, just not in uniform. Yeah. But
well, and then on top of that as well, when he becomes no longer useful to them, no, we don't need to. We don't need to worry about that. Unfortunately, that's been a proven pathway through. Something you and I share, Nicole, is what really sparked a huge amount of change in our life. I've spoken about it on my shows many times. For me, it reinvigorated and brought back to the forefront for me to acknowledge something that had been in front of my face for a long time, and that was my faith. And it brought me back to that, and I believe to be such a better a better place in my life now. Things have changed so much for me now that I've engaged my faith again. And you are a person of faith as well. It was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That held a very special timeline of what it meant. Talk to a little bit of folks about what was happening, what took place for you when that went down.
For me, it's I think the most memorable part about that all was it wasn't the fact that his assassination was being broadcasted over and over and over again. It was the fact that so many people were just celebrating it for everybody to see. And for the environment that I was in at that point, to realize that I was more than likely around people that felt that way, it was terrifying. People that knew that I held those same beliefs, and how are you supposed to feel? That's terrifying. I don't want to be around these people. This is scary. And for me, that whole situation just made me realize that if I continue to just try and blend in and just pretend that I am, neutral, or maybe not even neutral, but just trying to get along, that's not going to save me. It's not going to do me any favors if I just sit quietly and passively. It's going to backfire on me just like it does for everybody else that ever sits passively, And so it really did motivate me to start wanting to speak up, not just about at the time, it was about what I was experiencing personally.
Yeah.
But it gradually evolved from there into a lot more. But it was really out of fear. I was scared.
Yeah. It was one of the things for me. So as a kid growing up, I'm 53, right? I'm not an ancient guy, but I am from a different generation for sure. And when I was a kid growing up, if you were somebody that openly said you didn't believe in God, you were looked at like, yo, it was one of those things like, is that dude, is he going to be on, Ozzy Osbourne's, next album, biting a bat's head off or something? Or, it was a weird thing to come across people that would openly say that. Today's world, the world that my kids grew up in, it was the opposite. It's like if you were a person of faith, you were like, oh, okay, yeah, you go to church, really, dude? Those type of things. And I noticed that, and I'll be honest, it didn't really bug me too much because I wasn't sure where my faith was. I had the unfortunate situation where literally minutes after that occurred and it went online, I had a very close friend of mine who also is a person of faith. He sent me this link, and what he told me, I believe him 100%, is that he thought he was sending me this link to just a picture, a post that Charlie had been assassinated. But actually what it did is it led right to the video. And unfortunately, I witnessed it and watched it, as fully recorded. And I've been around death as a first responder, working in Laramie County. I've been around plenty of individual, of bodies that folks have moved on from. And it's not something I want to see, right? I don't have a desire. I have some morbid curiosity that I want to see this because I've been around it. I've seen it firsthand from car wrecks, from drownings. I don't need to be around it anymore, right? It's one of those things. So seeing it really jacked with my head. I was like, and I sent back, please tell me this is some sort of sick AI that I just witnessed and that this isn't real. And his response was, no, man, it's real. And I got to tell you, if that entire day, nothing got done. I was scatterbrained. I kept reading articles to learn more. And I too, like you, Nicole, I saw things coming from people that I knew that made me sick to my stomach. That, hey man, I don't like a lot of things Nancy Pelosi say, but I would absolutely under no circumstance ever want to see her, harmed in some way like this, ever. I don't like, this person or that person's opinion, but I would never want to see that. And so, man, it motivated to the piece. But to fast forward to this, I now am I don't try to push my faith or belief on anybody. But if they want to sit down and chat, let's do it. I'd love to. I'd love to share with you my journey and now my relationship with Jesus Christ and with God, my understanding where I stand now. And I brought it to my platform on the podcast. And a few guys were like, "Sure, you want to do that, dude?" I'm like, "You're damn right I do. Yes, 100%. I have no problem with that. You believe and do what you want to do. Your relationship with him is yours. And if you ever want to talk about it, I'm right here. There's no problem about that." So yeah, when I saw that video of yours that talked about how that impacted, again, I felt like a kindred spirit there. It's like, man, I get where she's coming from, how it changed you. Let's go into a couple of the content that I have that I love seeing. This was also something that we shared. You have a very strong belief based on some great factual information that is available out there to anyone who wants to Google it and take a find on it. And I believe this 100% wholeheartedly, and I hope some of my left-leaning friends are paying attention to this because I want you to take back your party. But I have believed for some time that the Democratic Party has been infiltrated by players from the communist Marxist belief system. And lo and behold, it continues to come out further. And you've talked about how you've seen it, that there is well, I'll let you say it, how you introduce people, what you believe that you have been seeing out there that brought you to bring in some of this information out.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I introduce myself in every video is, this is what I believe. I believe that progressives are trying to stage a communist revolution in pretty much every Western capitalist country that as far as I'm concerned, and I personally wish that people could open their minds up just a little bit, to the history that we've seen. They openly talked about wanting to do this. Okay. The Bolsheviks openly talked about wanting to stage a global communist revolution. Right. And, that's why they were so against borders, is because they ultimately wanted the entire world to be part of this infrastructure. Right. And so, and the reason that I bring that up is because so many people think that, communists and socialists typically will build borders. And what I need you to understand is that they're trying to make a world where there's no place else to run. You can't flee. Right. And, and not only that, but there's something called entryism, right? We've seen people lay out, the long march through the institutions. And we know that in France, I'm trying to remember how to pronounce his name. It's like Trotskyism, the idea of using a party and then slowly polluting that party until there's nothing left of what originally made it that party. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing it with the Democrat Socialists of America. They infiltrated
DSA.
They infiltrated the Democrat Party, and now the hardcore communists and Marxists are infiltrating the DHS. And that's how it goes. And they just crank the ratchet a little bit more at a time. And that's how they slowly just corrode the infrastructure of everything we know and love.
Right. No, it's 100%. I was telling you the story beforehand, is that back in 2024 during the election, talking with some of my family members who sit on the other side of the aisle from me, and we were having some spirited discussions about certain things. And I asked them, hey, man, you do realize that the platform for the Democratic, appointed bureaucrat who never won the electoral votes to get themselves up there, you do realize that their platform lines up with the Communist Party of the United States of America, which is a nonprofit political party here. And the look on the face was like, what? And I'm like, look, I did it. I used to think that those folks were wearing tinfoil hats. I thought it was like, come on, I know you don't like their opinion, but communist, that's a pretty strong word. So I went out and did some simple Google research that I highly encourage anybody to please do so. You look at the top 5 platform desires of the Communist Party of the United States of America that exists out there. And then you look at the Democratic Party and you look at their top 5. And then you look at the Democrat Socialist and you look at their top 5 things. And all of a sudden you got to play a game. Is it communist or is it democratic? Which one is it? Because they align. Oh my gosh, they're almost in lockstep. And I said, how can you even remotely support that? I mean, it goes against everything that is our foundation and our fabric of community in our country and what sacrifice has been given to protect. And that's it. It made it very difficult for me to like, hey, I'm sorry, but I know who I won't vote for. I promise you that until they get it cleaned up, you know, they
Yes.
and they need to. Do you think they can, Nicole? Do you think they can clean this thing up? Are we heading to something that's a heck of a lot more scary?
You know, when I think about it, like I think about how there's so many people that are against a one-party system, you know,
Yeah.
and I have mixed feelings about it because typically when we see a one-party system, that's usually when we start venturing down the path of authoritarianism.
Yep.
But at the same time, we're seeing how dangerous having a two-party system is because all it takes is for one party to get hijacked, you know, and considering that they're supposed to be polarized against each other from the very get-go, you know, it's almost an inevitability that one is going to eventually drift off to some extremism. So I don't know if you can save it. I just, you know, it's like a whole nother, it's going to be some birthing pains if you catch my reference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and this is also one of the things that I think that is a fallout of the two parties blocking the real vote of a third party coming in to debate them. When Ross Perot upset the apple cart with the Clinton and George Sr. deal, Bill Clinton won the presidency with less than 50% vote because Ross Perot pulled so many Republican votes away from George Bush, pulled him to the independent ticket. Both parties realized, oh my God, just look what just happened. And so since that time, no third party candidate has ever gotten a fair shake or a chance to get back in the game. You know, it's what led RFK to the Republican Party. For the love of Pete, he was a Democrat. I mean, he's a Kennedy. Come on. I mean, you can't get much more Democrat than that, right? And when this guy, you know, who was one of their champions for the longest time, he goes on the independent ticket because they shut him out. They wouldn't even let him put his name in the hat to be a possible candidate up there. They shut him out, so he moves to the independent ticket. And then, you know, hey, like him or hate him, the guy that reached out to him was actually our sitting president and said, hey, why don't you come over here and let's work together? Despite what people want to say, like or dislike, that's not usually the sign of somebody who wants total control. That's the sign of somebody who's willing to bring in other opinions, you know, and try to figure things out. That's what caught me from that whole lineage when it unfolded. But I saw it early on. And as now we have the Speaker of the House talking about it and we see what's going on in New York, Colorado just got some major seats won by DSA supported and socialist, you know, candidates. It's real, folks. The beast is in the house right now. And good Lord, we need to do something about it, in my opinion. I love your content because it helps arm those of us out there to actually start doing something about it. Start having these conversations, start getting involved, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I want, and like you said at the very beginning, it's like, I really try not to make my content political. That's not the goal. It's to talk about just the facts, just opening up people's minds up to these possibilities. And just so they recognize how common this actually is, because it's happened a lot. And that's how we know, or that's how I know that it's happening, is because you're just able to look at how these things have been done in the past. And that's, you know, it's hard to ignore.
Do you ever watch any of the John Stossel stuff?
I do. I love John Stossel. Yes.
Same. And this is a guy, once again, this is another example of somebody who was from one side and got a point in his life and was like, shit, I can't do that. I can't lie through my teeth like that. I want truth. I'm a journalist. And, you know, he's one of the few that was able to do that. And bless him, man. He's built a hell of a TV following and just off of social media.
Yeah, he's very. I mean, I just can't get over it because we just went through so many former Democrats that just said, "Hey, something's wrong."
Do you want to know the one that kicked it off for me? I think you'll appreciate this. Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, no,
One-
Tulsi Gabbard was a big one too.
One of the most, in my opinion, just patriotic, brilliant, fine examples of what you want as an American citizen is Tulsi Gabbard. Absolutely love her to death. Respect the living bejesus out of what she has done, how she handled it, and how she conducts herself with just utter class and grace and intelligence. When she was like, yo, no, I trust individuals like that. I trust their judgment. So you've got to wake up to this. You can't, the need to be right can't be more important than the need for the truth, right?
Yeah, and what she did was so hard. What she did was so hard.
Yeah. I mean, especially coming out of Hawaii, that's as blue as it gets, man. And to make that full maneuver like that, especially with him, he, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm like,
Yes.
call it for what it is. Doesn't look like a real, yeah.
I'm
just not
sorry. What these people are doing is not easy, and that's what I wish more people would recognize. Is like they're going through all of this for a reason, and I don't know how you can arrive at the conclusion that it's because they're dictators. Like I'm sorry. I don't see how people are getting to that point.
the math don't math
No.
like that, right? No, that is absolutely. You were one of the other videos that you were talking on that we see quite a bit is this immediate call to from the far extreme left side that immediately if you disagree, you got to be the worst kind of human ever, right? You can't have a civil disagreement. One other guy that I follow very closely that is bringing this up on many occasions is Nick Freitas out of West Virginia. Nick brings this up quite a bit, and he talks about this, that he's almost to the point of fatigue of like, call me what you want. It's like if we're going to have a discussion or we're not, type thing. But he's also I believe he was he's a Green Beret and now serves in the Senate, I believe. And so, he talks about that. You also engage that. What is is this also part of the machine that just make opposing us so uncomfortable that they'll be quiet about it? Is that kind of where that's coming from?
Oh yes, absolutely. That's a huge part of the strategy, is to get people to dehumanize their political opponents and normalize the social abuse towards that group, right? And I've talked about it recently because I was getting pissed off about it myself,
Right.
because sometimes you just get mad and just gotta talk about it.
Gotta vent.
Right.
Oh, I do
But-
all kinds of videos in the truck that never see the light of day.
Oh,
Trust
yes.
me.
But it's very real, because in these authoritarian structures, it's not just the government that's doing it. They will train their own people to start
Yes.
policing each other. And they use a lot of different, families will just turn on each other and start policing each other. And I started getting all these stories from people that moved here from Cuba that experienced this exact thing, talking about how their friend or their family member ratted them out to police.
Oh my
And
gosh.
It's very real, and that's the other thing that I wish people could recognize, is that they're being used to accomplish the very thing that they're opposing. Like, that is authoritarianism, right? You are being used to police the opposing party, right?
Yeah. No, you're dead set right. This brings to something that I wanted to ask your opinion on, because I believe this wholeheartedly, that I know many people that sit on both sides of the political spectrum, some very, very leaning left, some very leaning right, and I love them all to death. disagree with many of them on certain topics, this and that, but still respect them enough as humans. I'm a firm believer that a large portion of these folks don't even realize what's literally going on right now. And I think the two things, in my opinion, I'll get your take on this, that cloud their vision the most is, number one, the need to be right seems to trump everything, right? They don't want their side to be wrong. So they have to agree with everything their side comes up with, regardless of how ridiculous it is. The other thing is just their flat out hatred for the orange one. They hate him so much, right? And I believe, look, he gives you plenty of reasons in the public sector, the public facing camera, to dislike him. He says some pretty dumb shit a lot of times, tweets some really ridiculous things.
He's honest to a fault.
Right? Every bit of it. But how I still don't understand how those two things can lead you to this sheep lemming type mentality, because that's what I really feel that many of them are falling. I don't think all my friends that lean left are commies, right? I don't think that, but I just don't think they see it as much. What's your thought on that?
From everything that I've read, that's exactly right. Like oh, hi, I know her. She, from everything that I've read, they don't know.
Right.
They're basically being convinced. It's kind of like gently leading them along, right? They don't understand that how these mind games are being worked on them to kind of get them to where they want them to go. But that's essentially how it works. It's kind of like a cattle prod. We want you to go this direction and then this direction. And for a lot of them, I genuinely believe that a lot of these people don't know, and they honestly believe that what they are fighting for is equality. They honestly believe that. And they honestly believe that Trump is Hitler, right?
Yeah,
and
100%.
If they really believe that, it kind of puts their behavior into some perspective. But then on the other side, there are people that are genuinely what you just talked about. They're narcissistic, and they don't want to admit that they're wrong, and they've backed themselves into a corner where they're depending on their party to continue validating the stuff that they've already done, right?
Yeah.
They've already done all these horrible things, and some of them might know that, and now they just can't back down.
Yeah. Nick Freitas said this one topic that it takes a little bit to get with this, but if you follow it, the train of thought, he makes a lot of sense. And that is, he's not as comfortable. Keep in mind, this is coming from a former Green Beret. He's not as comfortable of going to violence to get what he wants in the political and community sector as his opponents are. And he's had people looking like, what are you talking about? You're not as comfortable with it. He says, you and I are going to come into a room. We're going to talk about something. I'm going to tell you, I want less government. I want this. I want less spending, and I want these things. And you are free to walk away from this discussion and disagree with me and say, no, I'm not going to vote that way. And that'll be the end of it. We'll be done. You, on the other hand, if I do that, well, there needs to be a law. There needs to be regulation. There needs to be a penalty of some kind. And what I immediately jumped to when he was talking down this line going, oh my God, yes, he is speaking so perfectly about this. I immediately jumped to Obamacare. Look, I love the idea of fixing a real broken system. The part where you lost me is when you added a penalty if you didn't do exactly what they wanted you to do. What? You're telling me that you're going to force it onto somebody? And that is exactly, he says, what the difference is between the sides is that, no, they'll go to any form of violence, be it take your money away from you, make it harder for you to, support your family. And so for me personally, it's like, hey, man, I can't get on board with that. He's right. And I can't support that kind of stuff. Right. And I think it speaks right to what you're saying is that they create this world where it's painful to disagree. And we're going to make it so uncomfortable for you socially that you'll be quiet enough. And if not, you get the fascist tag or you get the bigot tag or you get, the racist tag immediately. It's like, whoa, Hold on.
That's exactly all those names, all those hate words that they try to label you with. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a tough deal. Recently here, you also put out some content. This was a great example of this. The Lindsey Graham situation. I think Lindsey was a warmongering goofball. I was never a real big fan of his, but it is sad to see him pass. And we saw once again people dancing, and celebrating the death of. And I'm like, what did you see much of that this time? I mean, obviously, probably not at the level of Charlie, but I mean, what was your take from that whole situation?
I mean, I personally just didn't know that much about the guy, and I started
Yeah.
seeing all these bizarre videos about some weird stuff, and I was like, I just didn't realize you all were such big fans. Like, when did that happen? Like,
Right.
I mean, I wasn't aware so many people were tracking this guy that closely. I just,
Right.
and for me, I just don't understand when it became so normal for people to just openly celebrate the death of their political opponents. That's creepy. That's
Amen.
weird.
It's horrible.
Yes.
We got to be better than that. And I think it's high time that we start holding people accountable to that stuff and start calling them out, going, nah, dude, maybe you shouldn't have a voice at the table. Because
Yes.
clearly
No.
y'all need Jesus. All right, that's all I'm gonna tell you.
And you know what? And I was just talking about that in a video the other day. They call it I was correcting somebody about that because leftists will often bring up something called the tolerance paradox. And they'll say that, in a truly tolerant society, you have to be intolerant of intolerance, right? And what that actually means is you cannot be intolerant of people that are attacking free speech, right? That's the paradox. Like, you cannot tolerate speech that attacks free speech, right? But what they'll frame it as is, well, that means we can't tolerate anybody with these quote unquote extreme views, whatever they decide is extreme. And the person that that was talking about this completely misrepresented what this paradox even was, and
Yeah.
they're just clueless.
When we moved to the social media news age, I think it changed quite a bit. Where do you now? I know for the majority of your content, you do follow a lot of these, some wild channels. Some of the videos you've put up there is like, good Lord, where do you find these people at? What what does your day look like? Is there a whole lot of scrolling going, okay, yeah, that's money right there. I need to eat. We need to peel this one apart. What are your sources that you chase down this stuff on?
I have a few people that I follow that
Gotcha.
for very specific reasons, and then there's most of the time, the algorithm will do its thing and show me something. But like, for me, I usually try to be very intentional about the clips that I choose. Like, I try to show something that I know is a common thing within the progressive movement, like things that I know to be very common beliefs or very common ideas. And I try to always tie it into some type of like understanding of why this is happening, where this behavior is coming from. And like, I try to make it educational because I don't want to get into the realm of rage bait. And, I don't necessarily want to be a bully either. Like, I'm not trying to bully these people.
I mean, to a great degree, you said this once, I can't remember which video, but you said this, that I know that the majority of you that are watching my content, you agree with me, right? But you were hoping, to get this one message out to folks that maybe didn't necessarily align, because really at the end of the day, that's me personally, who I'd love to reach I've got 3-4 brothers that are completely opposite end of where I sit these days. And I know these guys, I know them deeply, in their brains. They're smart human beings. I need to know, and I wish they could hear some of this stuff to know, save your party. You guys gotta act now, because I refuse to use the word liberal or conservative as an insult, because these are good words. These are good trains of ways of thinking. We need them both functioning together to get clean and get healthy. But at the same breath, man, you got to see what's going on one side over there, and it's scary. That's what's going down that path. The socialist movement that we see, I hear people talk about this. Even had someone like, well, fire and police, those are socialist programs. No, they're not. Those are run by elected officials. All right. The people still decide that through our systems. They're paid for by, government agencies that are elected and put into power, and that we control where they get their money from, where they don't. This is still part of our system here. Does it not seem, to me, it seems that the socialist push seems like we want to celebrate mediocrity. You should have a living wage if you get through high school. No, you shouldn't. High school is just one small drop in the bucket, dog. You should be able to, you got to work your butt off to get a living wage.
Well, I feel like people's idea of a living wage has changed dramatically too. Have you noticed that? Because if you actually talk to these people, they seem to be under the impression that people have always just been able to move out of their parents' houses and immediately live alone.
Right.
When I have no idea how anybody ever, I don't know about you, but I grew up watching a lot of shows where most people did not live alone until they're in their 30s. And
100%. Till you got a family.
Yes, you typically never do until you get a family, because it just makes sense financially to be living with other people. And
roommates.
And there's nothing wrong with having roommates. And I
very successful comedy show called Friends was built on that very premises.
That's exactly what I'm referencing. Yes.
No, it's the truth. I mean, I remember back, as a kid coming through, $20 an hour is $40 a year, man. That was like bachelor degree level pay, back then as we were coming through. Unfortunately, something happened, right? And that is, all of a sudden college degrees were no longer so rare. Everybody was getting them because we were successful in pushing kids to college. So yeah, bachelor's degree now does pay about $40 a year to get started for some professions. And guess what? You got to retool. Your bachelor's degree isn't enough. Now you got to figure out another way. And that's what, in my opinion, what spurs greatness. That's what spurs innovation. That's what spurs, these things. The socialist piece feels to me just like everybody should have everything, with no matter how hard they work. I don't know about you, but I've done a lot of government work in my IT world back in the day. It got underneath my craw, man, when slack ass Johnny over here, who barely towed the line, was getting the same pay raise as every one of us over here who was towing his line and ours. If that doesn't get you fired up, man. And that's isn't that what they're proposing?
No, it pretty much. And if you talk to any service member, they'll tell you how much it sucks, right? To know that there are people showing up to work that aren't actually working, and they're still getting paid. They still get all the same benefits, right? And so many people in the service know exactly what that's like. And they also see the quality of the services that are actually being provided. And, I love the Army. I loved my time in service, but that experience taught me firsthand how much socialism sucks. It sucks. And I'm sorry, until you've experienced it firsthand, you can't tell me that you know better than me, or anybody that's actually experienced it firsthand.
Exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. That's right down the line there. What's the future look like for you, Nicole? You going to keep on doing this here? What's what are the plans? Where are you going from here?
I have no idea. This is it. This is pretty much this right here. This is what I'm going to focus on for the next little bit, is getting more comfortable doing podcasts. I'm going to be on another podcast this upcoming Thursday. So my goal is to just start to get more comfortable in this space and see where it takes me.
If you would like, I would love to pass your information straight through to the entire Heroes Media Group. We have a show every night running across. They're all different kinds. The guy I'm thinking of immediately that I would love to introduce you to is David Willis of the Homefront Sit Rep. He's got a great a great following and just a great setup there with his stuff. But yeah, we can certainly facilitate that, pushing that around, and you can kind of pick and choose what works for you.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm just interested in learning and growing, and yeah, that would be great.
So before we wrap things up, I want to let you know, just from a person who's been a consumer of the content that you've been putting out there, and now getting a chance to speak with you one-on-one. Number one, thank you for coming on our little show. We sincerely appreciate you cutting the time out of your family there. Please pass on our love and thanks to your husband and to your beautiful family. We appreciate that. You are one badass human being. I want you to know that. The courage that you have demonstrated, the intelligence by which you operate, we're impressed. And I'm not an easy guy to be impressed with, with folks out there. I often admire people, but to be impressed, but you're impressive. You just truly are. I love your faith. I love your approach to these things. I love your common sense, no emotion, approach. And I love the fact of the people you have following you. Great support system that's got to be there. Husband gets extra kudos there for supporting his
Yes.
wife through this crazy adventure here.
Yes.
And hopefully it brings good things for all of you guys.
No, I appreciate it so much. Like I'm grateful for every opportunity. You have no idea. Like I cannot express how much gratitude I have for just being able to do this. Like this is wild. Like this is wild to me. Okay. Like this is not, I cannot believe that this is what I'm doing right now. I love it. It's
You've
awesome.
created it. That's the thing. You had a chance. You took a really shitty situation, you spun it, you adapted, and bam, here we are.
And I hope, like if and I have a picture on my Facebook page, and it's like that's literally where it's like a map, coming from a city to a little town,
Yep.
and like I hope people can maybe take this as a sign to follow me. Like you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to take what they call the traditional route.
Yep.
You can go and figure it out yourself, and you might just be surprised. Like I'm surprised.
Love it. I say that all the time, dude. And act on one simple thing. You'll be amazed at what happens. Right? It
Yes,
goes from there.
just take a chance.
You are absolutely inspiring people out there. Just know that, and that this is, to me, that was the thing, is that you can see that you're informing individuals and you're inspiring folks out there. And yeah, this is super cool. I know we're going to keep watching you. Hopefully, as things go down, we get you back on the show again. We'll talk about get you come in on some of these topics. And hey, I'm just going to throw this out here. You'd make a hell of a podcast host. You would do great. I could see that in your future. Down the line. Let's see where it goes.
I'm keeping an open mind. We're gonna find out together.
Awesome. You at least got to bring us on for like a 5-minute, comedic interlude. We'll jump in your show at least once.
I was gonna say I'm just gonna start pulling everybody that has me. I'm just gonna be like, everybody's welcome at any time. So
I love it. Nicole, thank you so very much. If you don't mind hanging out, I'm gonna when I roll this thing out here, I'll chat with you after we go off the air, and we'll wrap it all up here if that works.
absolutely.
Awesome. All right, folks. Thank you so much at home. We appreciate you guys. Hey, go give Nicole a follow. I have been a bonehead. I'm not putting this up on Facebook right here. Just hit @Nicole.k.Hedrick. Okay, go follow her there. Check out this content. Go down through the videos here. It'll open your eyes. Keep an open mind and take a look, especially for any of my left-leaning friends out there. I encourage you, watch some of the stuff that Nicole puts out there. It's not heated or emotional garbage. It's true thought. Right? And that's all we're hoping for from this thing, is just take a time to take a look on this, because there is some serious crap that's going on out there that needs addressed. You folks, the routine. We're not so big on worrying about too much of that stuff, but a subscribe on YouTube goes a long way for us, and following us on Facebook just helps us get the message out there. Next Sunday, what do we got going on? I might be traveling. I'll let you guys know later in the week here whether or not we're going to have an episode next Sunday here or not. I got some family stuff I got to deal with, and so I might be traveling next Sunday. But if not, we'll have some promo stuff coming out there. Go check out all the great shows on Heroes Media Group. As always, tight lines, be safe, take care of each other, and God bless.